Hello, everyone. This is Jonathan here with another episode of Politics with Jonathan. And first, to start off with, as always, I want to start off with a hot take. My hot take is that James Talarico will beat Jasmine Crockett in the 2026 Texas Senate Democratic primary. And of course, a little bit of a history lesson, we need to look at John Cornyn as an individual. So John Cornyn has been the senator from Texas, or one of the two senators from Texas, along with Ted Cruz. And he has represented Texas since 2002. He is currently vying for his fifth term after winning his fourth term against MJ Hagar by 10 points. And in the Republican primary here, he did not have much credible opposition, as you can see by the dominant performance that he put up. And so we need to address the controversies that John Cornyn had to get him into this very competitive primary he's dealing with as of right now. So the core points that people are mad at for John Cornyn, the Republican Party, is his more leniency on illegal immigration, his support of more restrictive gun measures, and him saying that he would not support Trump in the primary and that Trump is basically irrelevant because he lost. So, due to that led his longtime rival, Ken Paxton, to challenge him in the Republican primary. Ken Paxton has been the Texas Attorney General since 2015, and he has made himself out into this very conservative Attorney General that sued the Biden administration over 100 times. So, if we look at this right here, Ken Paxton was dominating over John Cornyn for quite a while until a pretty big surprise came into the race with Wesley Hunt, the representative from Texas's 38th congressional district, and a former US Army officer. And his entry was seen as a bit of a surprise. He was seen as a potential spoiler, but people did not really think he would run. And with that, this race has tightened up quite a bit, and it looks like it'll be very competitive. But before I fully delve into who I believe will win, I want to look at the Democratic side. And at first, Colin Allred was seen as the frontrunner in this race. He was the 2024 nominee for Ted Cruz's Senate seat, and he lost by about 9 points. He came back to try again in this seat, and his main opposition was James Talarico, who is a politician, Presbyterian. He is a state house member. I believe he's also, let's see, I think he's, yeah, I believe he's a pastor of his church. Or at least one of the main speakers at his church. And as we look here, at first, Colin Allred had a pretty decent lead over Talarico, but then towards the end, Talarico really started to gain on Allred. But then another surprise factor came into the race with Jasmine Crockett, the representative from Texas's 30th congressional district. And due to that, Colin Allred ended up dropping out of the race, and now he's running again for the U.S. House. And in this race right now, I think there are a couple of reasons why James Talarico will win. First off, he's a really good speaker. Regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, I think you can acknowledge he's a good speaker and he's very careful with what he says, compared to Jasmine Crockett, who basically lets anything come out of her mouth. Like, she insinuated that the Latino community had a slave like mindset due to them all voting for Trump in 2024. And comments like that, particularly in Texas, with a large Latino demographic, do not go over very well with the community and with people at large. And also, calling their governor Governor Hot Wheels does not go over very well. That is very insulting to Abbott. Um, but it looks like at first it looked like Crockett would beat Talarico. That's what everyone was thinking. But Talarico has taken the lead in this most recent poll that came out, and also this number says 6 million as of September 30th, but the new numbers were just released today. He's now at 9 million. He is doing very well when it comes to fundraising, and I would also really like to see what Crockett's numbers are. Now, when it comes to the Republican primary, I think this will be a very closely contested race. I think, though, how it stands right now, I think Ken Paxton and John Cornyn will make top two, and Wesley Hunt will be eliminated. And I think in that matchup, Ken Paxton will end up defeating John Cornyn. I think if John Cornyn and Wesley Hunt make it, John Cornyn will win narrowly. I think if Wesley Hunt and Ken Paxton make it, Ken Paxton will win. But a lot of Democrats are thinking that they have a possibility to flip the Texas seat, and the main reason is the large amount of scandals Ken Paxton has had. In 2023, he was impeached by the Texas State House, and the Texas State Senate, I believe, acquitted him. And he was suspended for, I believe, about 5 months at that point. And it doesn't really look very good for you when you're impeached by a very Republican legislature. I believe the impeachment was primarily due to the fact that his friend was basically getting very suspicious benefits from the knowledge Ken Paxton had. Correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a while since I looked at that scandal. But I also know his wife, Angela Paxton, came out and basically said that he was having an affair on her, which did not go over well, and specifically in very Christian Texas, that may hurt him in the general, but I just do not see Tallarico winning this, and I have a couple of reasons why. Number one is partisanship has dramatically went up. As we see in 2018, yes, Ted Cruz only won Texas by 2.5 percentage points, but in that same year, Mississippi, Cindy Hyde Smith and Mike Espy, Cindy Hyde Smith only won by 6.5 points, and Mississippi is far more Republican than Texas is. But since that, it's been going on 8 years since that. Partisanship has dramatically went up since then, and it has become much more difficult for a Democrat to win in a Republican state and for a Republican to win in a Democratic state. I think at the end of the day, even if it's Paxton, unless he has an absolute horrible Roy Moore type scandal that completely stops his campaign and the economy gets worse, Trump's approval ratings in the gutter, then I think it could get competitive. But if that stuff does not happen, I think this race will be at least Paxton +5. I think is right now. And that is a wrap for today's video. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And I want to tell you all to please like, to please subscribe, and to please comment who you think will win the primaries for both sides of the aisle and who you believe will win the race. Because remember, every like we get, every subscription we get, every comment we get allows more people to come on this great journey that we are on. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and goodbye.